Hi everyone, today we have a new video review, and as you can see, this time we are going to talk about fresh release from ICM. And this kit comes in 1/48 scale, and to be honest, this is more of a combo set because as you can see on the box art, we have several aircraft, we have figurines, and maybe there are some other extra stuff included. And you can notice that the name is Nakhon Phantom Air Base or Phanom Air Base. And the kit number is actually suggesting that we are dealing with the diorama set. It's DS4804, and in 1/48 scale it should be quite a large build if you will assemble all of the stuff which is depicted on the box art. And it will be interesting to see how those aircraft are copied in this kit, even though they were released as the separate kits, and I reviewed them on the same YouTube channel which you are watching at the moment. But maybe here we will get some new parts or maybe some new marking options which will be exclusive only for this box. And you can notice that it barely fits the frame because it's quite large, and here is comparison with my hand. Then we have quite nice box art, and here on the side you will find also some information about the kit, and also that this is not a toy. It's written that we have here the B-26K Counter Invader, we have O2 Skymaster, pilot figures, ground technical personnel figures, aviation armament, and also 2 sets of airfield plates. So that's quite a package, I would say. I do not see the parts count. It should be written here. Yeah, so 196 parts for O2 Skymaster. Then we have 344 parts for B-26, 38 parts for 5 figurines of US pilots, 88 parts for US aviation armament, and also here we have 128 parts for assembly of the landing mat. So that's quite a huge parts count, but it's quite cool that ICM does not hide it and they just wrote it on the box. On the opposite side, we have just the small picture of the same image as what we had on the box art, so nothing special. And of course, box is sealed with a tape, so I'm going to use the knife in order to open it if I will find it on my table. So here it is. In the meantime, again, I can remind you that you can check the solo releases of those kits on the same channel, and these were quite nice plastic kits, so it's definitely worth checking them out in case you don't need such a huge or large package. And maybe I'll just cut off the table because I can barely reach the opposite end of the box, so it will be faster just to do it off the table. In the meantime, I can also remind you the DS designation from ICM. It is usually reserved for diorama sets, so hence the DS, and it usually packs the several kits, maybe some other useful bonuses for diorama builders. So as you saw in this kit, we have several aircraft and also the figurines and the special landing mat as well. So it's pretty much enough for some diorama project. So you can see that the box structure is typical for this brand. We have this flexible top cover, which I will put aside, and then there is a white cardboard box, which is quite heavy because it houses several kits, and I'm not even sure where to begin. So maybe we'll start with the figurines, which were on the top. And each set of the plastic sprues, they are packed into the separate plastic bags. These are resealable plastic bags, so it's quite easy to open, as you heard. And here we have the first plastic sprue with the pilot figurines. So this is a 1/48 scale figurine, so that's why they're smaller than what we are used to seeing 1/35 obviously, but the parts design is similar to what we are getting usually in a bigger scale. You can notice that the sculpting quality is really good, so maybe I can zoom in onto those figurines and you can notice the quality. So there are no guiding elements, and of course all of the poses will be predefined, so there are no alternative options. But I think that's still a good looking set of the figurines, and in 1/48 scale there are not that many offerings, I would say, so that's why this thing is even more important for all aircraft builders. Next we move to the aircraft kit. So this will be the Skymaster. And I just need to open the plastic bag and then open one more plastic bag because we have the clear frame which is packed into a separate plastic bag. So here it is. And maybe let's zoom in. Now you can see that these are clear parts for the aircraft, and molding quality looks really great here, so it's just a matter of masking them somehow, and I hope that there will be the masking templates, because usually ICM was including them into the recent releases, especially aircraft kits. And here we have quite a tricky canopy shape, so that's why it will be quite a handy add-on, which will speed up the assembly process and also make the paint work on your aircraft quite precise without any extra work, let's say. Next, we continue with the first gray plastic sprue. So here you can see the fuselage halves and also the wing part. So overall, I would say this is somewhat expected parts design. Maybe the cooling panels could have been separate, because you have the joint here between the two halves, and that's why it will be important to check how they fit together and also somehow to get the smooth finish. But external features are quite nice. We have recessed panel lines. They're not too deep, and that's why you will have to pay attention on the paint thickness, let's say, and also the primer layer thickness. But also note that some of the access hatches are molded separately, which is also quite a useful thing. And we have also good interior parts. Here you can see the dashboard, for example, so it's just a matter of assembling all of this stuff and painting it in a convincing way, and then it will be a really good looking thing. And fuselage halves, they also have the guiding elements inside, so that's also a handy addition, and for such complex fuselage shape, I think it's quite important. Next, we continue with the second gray plastic sprue and the last for this aircraft. So here we have the tail fins. There are several of them, as you remember. We also have landing gear wheels here, the parts for the engine gondolas, and also actually for one engine, because it's the single engine aircraft. But we also have the wing parts here and some of the minor elements for the landing gear system, as well as for the cockpit. For example, here you can see the rudder pedals, but overall it looks rather nice. We have also the engine insert, which is not exactly like full engine, but it still should suffice because it will be visible through the air intake here. Okay. Next, we have a bigger portion of the plastic frames, because this time we get the B26 parts. This is also, I would say, a well-known kit already, because it was released in several versions, and this Counter Invader was one of the latest. As I said, I was reviewing it as well as the separate item, but here we have it as a part of this DS set. And as you can see, we start with the wing halves. So each side of the wing should be assembled out of two halves, and we have the wing mechanization separate. We have also the engine gondolas here, and if I flip it over, here inside we have the guiding elements in the leading edge, in the trailing edge. So it's quite a well thought design, and I think it should be a good looking thing once you assemble it together. I saw some finished models on the exhibitions, and they were quite good looking, so I think it's doable. Here we have the pair of identical plastic sprues. As you can guess, they are dedicated to the engine parts. And this is something what I like about this B26 kit, because we have the nicely detailed engines for both sides. So ICM did not skip by including only one engine, let's say, just to save costs. We have both of them. And this is really cool because they are visible even through this opening, but maybe it's also worth thinking how to make one cowling removable so that you can expose the full engine. And of course, if you do so, then it might be also worth investing your time trying to do some additional wiring or some stencils, but that's already some extra stuff, I would say. Next, there was a separate plastic bag with the canopy parts. As you can see, the molding quality is really nice, but B26 is tricky in terms of the canopy design, so definitely it's good to get some aftermarket masks, or if the masks template is included here, then you should be fine, because then you just need to cut the mask stickers according to the templates provided in the assembly manual. Next, we continue with another pair of the wing halves. Here I will just zoom out. So we have the separate wing mechanization, we have the fuselage panels, one type of the props, but I'm not sure if they will be used in this version, so we will have to check the assembly manual. But again, pretty much the same design. We have the guiding elements, all of the pins and tabs, they're present here. Okay. Next plastic sprue is also quite large. I mean, the finished B26 this kit, doesn't matter which version you pick, it is quite large, so you should keep it in mind, because maybe making both aircraft and also combining with the figurines, the whole project, it will take some space. Here you can see the landing gear legs, also some landing gear doors and bomb bay doors. We have also the external fuel tanks, some of the nose section elements, but again, I'm not quite sure if this version of the nose element nose cover will be used in today's type. Next, I think it should be, because this counter invader was having the machine guns in the nose, and that's why it might be our thing to use. Okay, I'm opening the second plastic bag, which is dedicated to this aircraft, and here we have more wing parts. Surprisingly, we also have some fuselage panels. We have the tail wing parts. Note that the wing mechanization is separate here, which is also quite good. I think in 1/48 scale it's a must-have, because this way you can copy even more stuff. Next we have the pylons, and each pylon should be assembled out of 2 halves. There are guiding elements, guiding pins inside, so again, it's quite well thought design, and I think it won't be a problematic thing to get together. Next we continue with the tail wings here. So I think what we saw before, it was the tail fin, but as you can see here we have the separate elevators, and again if we flip it over we have the guiding pins here, so it's pretty much in the same way of design as the previous parts. The fuselage halves are placed on the separate sprue, just to give you the idea of the size. Here is comparison with my hand. We have the tail fin here. We have also quite, I would say, aggressive parts division, because as you can see we have a lot of fuselage sections molded separately just to accommodate more versions of this aircraft, so that's why you have to pay attention how they are joining together. For the landing gear wheels, I would recommend to replace them straight away, because it's quite a large part and it will be noticeable on the finished aircraft if you install something more detailed. And here inside you can see we have plenty of details pre-molded, so it's a good material for some washings and weathering done, so that the final result will be even more convincing. Next we have the last gray plastic sprue. I think this one will be actually used for the counter invader version, because it had the round engine gondolas. Okay, what I'm doing right now is opening the next plastic bag. Here we have the weapons for the aircraft, and I can see that these weapons are supplied on 2 types of the plastic sprues, so I will show you on one because they carry the same set of parts, and this way we will save some time. So first one is the sprue W1, and here we have bombs which should be glued out of several parts. You can see that even tail fins are molded separately, so it will require some attention, I would say. But in the, I would say, advantage section, we should say that there is quite a clever design again. We have a lot of helping and guiding elements which will help you position the parts in a proper way, so this is really useful stuff, especially with such design of the parts. And then we have also the rocket launchers and some other bombs here, so again pretty much the same design of the parts. It's just a matter of assembling and painting all of these things. I think the stencils were included in the original ICM release, so this kit should be quite fine. Next I'm opening one plastic bag with the landing gear, actually landing mat planks, and I'm opening only one because there are actually 2 plastic bags, but they carry the same set of parts, the same sprues, so you'll have to combine all of those panels together, and they can be assembled in different combinations as far as I remember, so it's just a matter of picking the right area or size which you will need in order to place your aircraft on it. So quite neat stuff, I would say, and it should be useful for displaying all of these models. But that's not all. We also, I was just saying that I wonder if we get the stencils for US armament. So here we go with the decals. As you can see, we have the stencils included, and they're quite nicely printed. Usually ICM decals are not that problematic to work with, so I think it should be fine. And one more thing is the decal sheet for B26K. So again, all symbols fit onto one decal sheet, and as you can see here, we have quite a mix of these different symbols. There is no segmentation, but at least we have the decals for the dashboard, and in case you need the decals for the seat belts, then you will have to do your own, let's say, upgrades in terms of the maybe some scratch building or maybe getting some PE parts to install in the cockpit. Next, we have the assembly manual. So this one should be familiar if you saw the original boxing of this kit. As you can see, even the kit number is written pretty much the same. We have the DS in the brackets. That means that the same assembly manual applies to both releases. Here we continue with the parts map. So red color obviously means that these parts will not be used. We also have this brochure, by the way, about the ICM paints, which is quite handy thing because you can basically use those colors with exact shades for a particular kit, and there is also a separate set for this B26, so definitely check it out. Here we have the insert of the assembly manual for the armament, so here you can see what is actually included and how it should be assembled. So the whole, I would say, design is quite nice, but maybe it will be a bit tedious procedure to assemble all of these items. And of course you need to check the loadout schemes in order to get the right combination. Here we continue with more unused parts. Here we have another several pages dedicated to the parts map, and assembly process starts with the fuselage. So here we assemble the bomb bay and the cockpit. On the next pages, we actually join the fuselage halves together. We install the tail wings and we assemble the rudder, so it was the rudder. Here we have the wing mechanization and the wing assembly. Then we have the nose area being assembled, and I'm just checking how... No, it's actually the engine nacelles as for each side, but it looks like the nose area. But by the way, you can see the nose section, it is with a lot of machine gun barrels. We also have some clear parts modification. As you can see, there will have to be some cuts to be done or some scribing in order to copy the exact panel lines. Then you have the landing gear assembly. As I said, I recommend to replace these wheels with some 3D printed alternative. Here we have the engine. As for the engines, I do not recommend to replace them because even the standard inclusion is really nice. You can assemble the bomb bay in open or closed position. Here we have the various small antennas, and also we install underwing pylons. We have the loadout scheme here, and then we have the final look of the finished model. We have the template for the masks, which is quite a useful thing, as I was saying before. Here we have the first marking option from 1951, and then we continue with another one from 1970, and one more from 69, and here is one more from 1960s, late 1960s. Okay, so this is one assembly manual, and then we have one more because we have also O2 Skymaster. So as you can see, Skymaster comes also as the brochure which was included into the solo release. So pretty much the same style. We have the decals here. So decals are printed again without any segmentation, but we have really nice printing quality. We have again the cockpit decals, so there is nothing to be worried about. Here you can also see the insert with the figurines assembly manual. So here we have, I would say, somewhat standard format of combination of the marking guide and the assembly manual. Then there is a separate insert for this landing mat. Here you can see also how those panels should be combined. As you can see, it depends whether aircraft or helicopter, but here we are dealing only with aircraft, so that's why you will be assembling, or airplane if you prefer. So that's why we will be assembling the larger area. Then we continue, or we start the assembly process with the fuselage. So there is a lot of things actually going inside the fuselage. That's why it might be worth to think through how you will be painting all of these items. As you can see, even some machine guns or M16s will be installed onto the cockpit walls. Then we assemble the engine cover. Here we assemble also the propeller in the tail area and in the front area as well, in the nose area. Then here we install the wing, we install also the air intake. Here we start working on the tail booms and also the lower wing halves. Here you can see the wing mechanization and landing gear wheels, as well as the wing struts and some underwing pylons again. So we have some armament here, and I'm not sure if there will be actually a loadout scheme. Well, there is not, but we have the masks template, which is again quite useful. Here we have the first marking option, the second one, the third one, and the fourth one, this dark colored aircraft, which looks quite cool, and it was on the box art, as you remember. So for the whole kit, I think it's a really cool addition into the DS line from ICM, and in case you need both aircraft in one box, it might be a really price efficient choice for you. And of course it should be already available in Modelimex. I will be happy to hear your opinion, so do not forget to write it here in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye.